Welcome to another episode of the StoneLine Climbing Podcast. In this one, I chat to my friend Dom Rowe again. We do a little bit of a debrief on our Rocklands bouldering trip from July, and then we kind of move off into another bunch of topics about the trip and about our kind of climbing plans for the next year. So, I hope you enjoy. Thanks very much.
Lights,
Sorry,
camera,
action.
action.
Okay, cool. So the last time we actually sat down and had a chat was about 2-3 months? No, it was before we went to Rocklands. So
Yeah.
when was that? Was that May?
End of June, right?
End of June. Yeah.
Start of July.
Yeah.
Because we left on like 28th of June.
Yeah, we left in June, came back at the end of July, and it's now the 13th of October. So it's quite a while.
Yeah.
Bunch of stuff, I guess, has happened since then, but probably not a lot at the same time. You've started training again.
Yes, just start with a new climbing coach.
Yeah. What I guess it'd be interesting just to kind of debrief Rocklands a bit and chat about, how that trip went, considering when we spoke in that last time. We were both pretty injured.
Pretty miserable.
Yeah, miserable.
Very miserable.
Yeah. How did you find that trip went then in the end? Considering you hadn't been there before.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-week trip, so it was one of the longer trips that you've been on. What did you think of it?
I mean, to be honest, like it's probably one of my best trips on paper to date. Which is crazy considering how miserable and angry I was going into it with injuries and stuff. I did everything I wanted and more. I mean, I said to you that if I just climb A7C before we get out there, while I get out there, I'll be happy. But I ended up doing more 7Cs and harder on this trip than I've ever done on any other trip.
What about the place? Was it what you thought it was going to be? Was it
was way
different?
better than I thought. Like, the place is unreal. I mean, we're going back next year now, aren't we? So, and I already can't wait for that trip. Literally the best place I ever climbed. Like, just the scenery, like, the wildlife, just... It feels more like you're climbing... what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, you're climbing in the wild. Like, you're actually adventure climbing. It's just an amazing place.
It was the thing that I'd forgotten about it, and that I guess I remembered being back there, was how actually quite basic the climbing style is.
Yeah.
There's like pretty little nuance, I felt like, to a lot of the climbing there. I don't know, maybe that's just me
No, like
not kind of
if you climb
analysing
on a board
stuff well.
if
But
you climb on a board a lot, it's so big. It's like it's like 1-2 basic climbing. There's no like
yeah,
there's no like weird like techie ways of doing things.
I think there are those boulders, but
Yeah.
there's way less of
Way
them
less.
than there are in most other areas. I think actually even Switzerland and I mean obviously somewhere like Font, but a lot of other, I think, European areas I've been to have got a little bit more subtlety to them than Rocklands. Yeah, it just felt, I mean, even just trying something like Black Eagle, that day we went up to that, reminded me that I was like, oh, this is technical. There's like weird places I can put feet,
Yeah.
and body position is pretty important. Whereas, yeah, I don't know, I felt like a lot of the other stuff is just more straightforward,
Yeah,
grab and pull.
just grab and pull.
And hold, like, pretty bad holds in a lot of places on a lot of boulders.
Yeah.
What did you, I mean, so that you did, like, I guess, what did you, like 15, 27C
Yeah.
and
like
above?
15, 20,
Yeah.
15, 7 and harder.
So that probably averaged like one every day of climbing.
Yeah, and I did multiple on some days, and I mostly all of them. I think the only thing that took me the longest to do is obviously the 8As that I tried. The out of balance, the 7B, but all these 7Cs I did within like an hour or two.
Even so, did you feel like your climbing actually improved through the trip? Because with the things that you did at the start of the trip taking you longer than the stuff, than the same grade took you at the end of the trip.
I found that like throughout the trip, my confidence grew. So that at the start of the trip, obviously, I was still thinking, oh, I've just come from an injury. I'm not feeling so confident. And then when we got there, and then I ticked off weights on the first day, and the other 7B, I was like, oh wow, maybe I'm in better shape than I thought I was. And then the confidence just grew then, and then it got to the point then when I was just like ticking, and I just got into the mindset of ticking boulders, and I think my confidence just grew massively.
So I mean, you didn't really have to like change the grade that you started climbing at, did you? You know,
No.
you just started climbing a 7C, and
Yeah,
then
I
you
just-
realized 7C was the level that you could go and just do boulders
Yeah.
every session.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For
and
me,
I guess you kind of did that with 7C plus as well, didn't you? Really, there was
Yeah.
some, there were maybe some 7C pluses that you tried that you did.
Yeah. I definitely did more 7C pluses on this trip than I've done on any other trip.
Right.
A lot of them within a couple of goes, and then a lot of them took me a little bit longer.
It's interesting that gap, I guess, between 7C or 7C plus then and 8A, isn't it?
Yeah.
Considering, you did all that many 7C and 7C plus, but then 1.8.
Yeah, 180. Yeah.
Yeah, which took
And I got close to another
4,
80.
5 sessions, was it?
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah, something like
That's
that.
interesting, that like difference, isn't it, between those two grades. Why do you think that is? Do you think you picked like a hard, because I guess if you pick a hard 8A or you pick something that doesn't necessarily suit you, then it's going to feel more like 8A plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is, the top of your kind of pyramid.
Yeah.
So what do you think was the difference then between you be able to do 7C in like sometimes a couple of goes and 8A in 4 or 5 sessions?
Well, for me on this trip was, again, I didn't think I could climb 8A. So when you go into a trip not confident in being able to climb something because of injuries and because of not training, then you just don't think about climbing them. And then all of a sudden it's there. You can climb them. You can try them. The tactics that I would usually go for are out the window. I didn't listen to you for the first 2 sessions when you.
Oh,
told me
right.
to
So
use
trying different beta and
yeah,
stuff.
trying different
Yeah,
gear.
okay.
Just wasn't listening and was like, no, it doesn't work. And then the day that I actually sent it, I tried the toe in method, which is the first move, and then I did it first go. Didn't do the problem first go, but I did the move first go, which is the first move that I was really struggling with.
This is almost like it wasn't, physically probably you was strong enough to do that boulder on session 1 or 2.
Oh yeah, easy.
But the actual working out and realizing, I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm not using the right beta.
My
That
tactics,
took 2 or 3 sessions to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I wonder
more
if
the
you.
tactics for me,
I wonder if you tried that boulder because you tried that boulder obviously I think the first day.
Yeah.
I wonder if you tried that boulder a week or 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Whether you'd have had that, either you'd have maybe, I don't know, listened, or whether you'd have been I'm just going to try a bit more this other method. I think that's a thing that I notice again and again actually is, and at the start of trips, you can be very much just reliant on, I feel physically good, I'm going to just climb and not think too much. And then towards the end of trips, your intuition's there more, your confidence is there more, and your skill set of actually working out boulder problems and finding the actual right way for you quickly is there. When it isn't there at the start of that trip, but you need that time during the start of a trip to actually develop it and to find it again.
Yeah. I mean, well, this Pendragon, the 8A that I did, first session I did all the moves bar the first one. I did all the links to the end. I did it all. So it wasn't the fact that I wasn't strong enough to do it. And then the only thing that was giving me trouble was the heel. I was trying to do the heel toe way to begin with, and I just couldn't stick the first move. Or it wasn't the first move. I could stick the first move. I couldn't move from the first move to the second move. So just being and then you said to me, I was like, oh, you should try sticking your toe in and camming it. And then I was like, nah, it doesn't work. And then that one day I took all my shoes with me, and then
yeah. Why did you think it didn't work the first time?
I think because I did try it once, but I didn't try it with a bunch of different shoes. I just tried it with a softer shoe that gives way a bit easier. And then I was like, nah, it doesn't work. Just like the other way works. I just got to figure it out. And then I was like, that day I had all my shoes with me. I had my like stiffer shoes. And I was like, all right, let's give it a go. Tried it again, and it worked. It worked straight
So
away.
you just needed the actual like stiffness of the shoe
Yeah.
to
100%.
feel more of that
Yeah.
cam in that
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
And because like the shoes I had on, like the Orbits, the Quibbits, sorry, I was wearing, it's got quite like a hard toe box to it.
Right.
So like when you stick the toe in and cam it'll stick.
It did actually stay. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
And that just made, I mean, I did it that session that I did that. So.
Yeah. So I guess you went from having not done that last move,
Yeah.
or the first move, the last move on the boulder that you hadn't done, to doing the boulder in the same day.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
could have quite easily did the other 8 days all that day. So that
Yeah,
goes to show
yeah.
how my confidence grew.
Why do you think you didn't do Nutzer?
Again, just tactics. Because I remember saying to you, I did all the moves like a session before.
Yeah, I remember
And
that.
then when I got there, I actually hadn't done a transitional move. So I spent ages going from the start, getting to the same bit and falling off. In reality, I didn't even do that transition beforehand.
Right.
So it's just, again, like tactics were just all off. Probably because of my confidence before the trip wasn't there.
That kind of surprises me with you, because normally you're pretty like good with knowing, okay, I've done this move into this move into this move into, and having that piece together. Maybe it's just excitement, because
But you can easily lose that just by like, either not climbing or not training, or just like, I made a post about it before we left. I just wasn't psyched on climbing, So for me, going into that trip, not being psyched on climbing because nothing's going my way, then I'm not going to be in the most... I'm not going to be in the best headspace when it comes to thinking about moves.
Well, so you think in those situations you just want to default to just going climbing?
Yeah.
And not actually using your brain?
Yeah, not using my brain.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
And I think I was just like trying to smash my head against the wall. And because I was like actually got to the point where I could do the moves, my excitement took over, and I just completely forgot.
Right.
To even think about,
Yeah.
these other elements that I haven't focused on during the.
That's pretty common, I think, isn't it? When you get that excitement of like, oh, I can do all of the moves, or I think I can do all of the moves, or I can do this boulder, that you start to kind of come out of the process that you normally would have to do a boulder.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because you almost, when you're feeding off the emotion and the psyche a little bit more of, oh yeah, I can do this boulder, great. It's more feel, and it's more, you're enjoying it more maybe, but then you lose that clinical aspect of being able to, sort of do the thing.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, I think that's interesting to think about in terms of, okay, you could say, well, the clinical mindset and the strict sort of approach is better to actually work out and do that boulder, but does it give you the same feelings or enjoyment to do it if you're like, okay, like calm down, I'm not going to get excited, I'm going to, do you know what I mean? And kind of restraining yourself and reining yourself in.
I do just get like really excited when things are like going well, or when like I feel good. Like at the minute I'm going well and climbing very well, so I'm like getting more and more excited about climbing again. And I've noticed since that trip that my tactics are like I'm on point again. My brain is working. I'm thinking. I'm actually like thinking about movement and how I move my body, and like maybe I'm looking at beta videos and paying attention, or maybe looking at my old videos and paying attention.
Do you think that just comes from your psyche being higher, that you're now
psych,
doing
and
those
also
things?
because I'm just more confident now because of that trip. I'm way more confident than I was going into it.
Right.
Like I was a ball of mess going into that trip, I was like bad. So for me, like I said, like the thing I was hoping for out of that trip was just to be able to climb a 7C. That's how dire it was for me. That all I wanted to do was just climb a 7C. And then
it'd be interesting to listen back to that podcast and see what you said you actually wanted to do. Whether you did say I just want to do 7C, or whether you said like I want to like.
I'm pretty
it'd
sure
be
I
interesting.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said I just want to climb 7C.
Yeah. Because it's so easy for you, like for expectations and goals and things to change as soon as you
like,
get
as
somewhere.
soon as I climbed them, I was like, right, I want to climb 8A now, and I want to climb
Yeah,
harder, you know.
yeah.
Because that's
Okay,
what
so
we do, right? That's
yeah,
what we want
yeah,
to do. We
and
want to
that's
climb as hard as possible.
the hardest thing is like trying to rein yourself in and not get carried away. So okay, then when you, because I do find you're actually pretty good at this. Like a lot of people, I do see you get, they do like a 7C and then they're like, right, okay, look straight to the next thing. And then when they can't do the next thing, it's like, oh my God. Like, it's almost like the 7C didn't happen.
Yeah.
There was no gain, or there was no confidence build, or there was, it didn't mean anything. Whereas it seems like for you do sometimes, you like do a 7C or you do something, 7C plus or whatever, and then you're like, right, I'm going to try and do this 8A. And you're like, I'm gonna try and do in a session, or or whatever it is. And you get carried away,
Yeah, I get carried away.
and then it doesn't pan out anywhere close. And I've done that as well. But what it seems like is you're not that phased by it. You don't let it deter you from trying them again.
Nah.
That's, I think,
for me, it's like
quite good.
it's just building that confidence in, like, on that trip. I was like, right, climb the 7C, or climb the 7C plus on day one. I was like, oh, okay. All right, maybe like my expectations going into this trip were wrong, and then all of a sudden I'm like feeling good. Okay, well now I want to try and climb every 7C or 7C plus in a session, and that was my goal. I was like trying my hardest. Like I went from no confidence, not psyched on climbing, doing a 7B and a 7C plus on my first day, and all the other mileage boulders we did that day, to then being like, right, I want to flash 7C this trip. You know, like
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So it went from just being wanting to do one to suddenly wanting to flash one.
Yeah, and that's all just based on like confidence and just like things going better than I thought they were gonna go. And that's just me as a person. I'm driven by like pushing myself as hard as possible. I know not a lot of other people like that, but
So how were you dealing with it on the days where you weren't doing stuff? Because there was probably a few days there, I can't remember specifically, but there would have been a few days there where you were like, I just don't feel particularly good today, like, or where you just didn't climb the stuff that you wanted. I mean, I think there were maybe a couple of days where we went to Pendragon and you didn't do it.
yeah. But even then, I was like I said, like I'm just happy that I'm able to try it. I think that was my mindset on the trip as well. Like when I was talking to you and everyone else, I was like, I don't care if I don't do it. I'm just happy that I can do it, considering where I was like 3 weeks or a month ago, you know?
Okay, so then with the actual, like, your fingers or whatever being ropey, did that play a part in the trip at all?
Like my fingers actually got better on the trip.
Right.
Like
Lucky bastard.
yeah, for me they got better, but I know
it just stayed the same for me.
Yeah, yours just stayed the same. My Tino like got way better on the trip. Like I didn't even notice it at all, and now it's pretty much gone. And my middle finger of my left hand just disappeared. It came back for a little bit after I came back from the trip, but it just then it's gone now and it's disappeared.
So on that trip, you didn't even really have to factor in feeling, I guess as well, maybe, okay, you were trying, you did have like 4 or 5 sessions on Pendragon, but you, in general, were climbing on something different every day.
Yeah.
So you weren't...
Even on the Pendragon days,
You tried something else.
Yeah, like, I jumped on a 7C or 7C plus, or I did stuff.
Before or after.
Yeah. So generally, like, I was actually, considering the amount of climbing that I didn't do beforehand, I was able to jump from boulder to boulder, and I don't even understand how. I think it was mainly just the confidence of like, and the psyche of being on a trip with everyone. Like it was a sick trip. Like I think it was a good laugh. Probably the fact that I probably ate the best I've ever ate on that trip.
A lot of steak.
A lot of steak. More steak than I've ever eaten in my entire life.
Yeah, you had quite a lot of new stuff on that trip.
But no, I think just got a lot of confidence. And even now, like, I think what really helped the most for me is, like, I'm very goal driven. And the fact that, like, I know you just had Dave on, but Dave messaged me, like, the week of like, before we left for our trip. And he gave me a date to start training. the minute that he messaged me that, my psych levels changed completely. Like I felt like I had something to look forward to, and I felt like I had something in the future that I wanted to do. And that changed, I think, for me, because when I was on the trip, then I was like, right, I'm started training after this. I'm psyched.
That's interesting how you got. Yeah, I think sometimes it is nice to come back from a trip and actually train, isn't it?
Yeah.
And just like get your head down and do a bunch of stuff.
I need, like, for me personally, like as a climber, I just need someone. Like I kept asking you for help all the time because I was like, I need someone to like lay on and just like give me something, give me feedback, give me advice, like give me training. Like I'm obviously paying them to do that, and then I'm like, right, I'm putting in the effort now. I'm paying for this. I want to be the better. So.
See, and you, because I guess from that perspective, and we've talked about this before, we've come at it from two very different perspectives. Like from when you were in boxing, you always had a coach, so you always had someone there to say, do this, do that, 5 sets, 4 reps, whatever it is, just tell you what to do, and you're like, yeah, I just get on and do it. And for me, it's been the opposite. Like, you know, for most of my climbing, at least from when I started, the first sort of 10, 12 years, I didn't work with anyone else really. You know, I guess a lot of the information and stuff that I found out there was online, and I was sort of,
but also,
you know,
like,
picking at it.
Though, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and probably...
The coaching was different. Like,
yeah, it was.
Then,
it wasn't...
compared to where it is now. If
sure.
you had the coaching that is available now, I'm pretty sure you would have... probably would have taken it.
Climbing, I would have, for sure. Yeah. If the services that are there now had been there when I started... 100%. I would have paid to have that access to somebody like that. Yeah. I think there's so much you can get out of just exploring other people's ideas of training or approach or tactics or video analysis or all of those things. I think and there's someone that I would have loved to just pick this person's brain. What do you think about this? Or have you seen this method of training? Or have you seen this or that? Or have you done any of this or that? I think, because I was trying to find all of those things, and they were all there, like, online, just in random little corners of the internet that you'd have to search to find, or bits and pieces in books. I think it was, I just had to, like, make it up as I was going along, really, and then pull in little bits and pieces from what I saw, but then there's pros and cons, isn't there?
Of course, to that approach. You've learned to do all that yourself, and then you now that you're coaching other people, you can then give your ideas because you know they've worked or haven't worked for you. And whereas for me, like, people just keep giving me stuff, so then my idea of things is maybe a little bit different, you know. Yeah,
I think sometimes it's knowing what, someone gives you something to do. Knowing, is it right for you? And that's where I struggle with giving people stuff, is like, I know this worked for me, but it might not work for you.
Might not work for them,
or like just even, and that's sometimes not even just training, it's like little tactical things, like, well, I personally psychologically try and do X, because, I prefer a mindset of like not putting pressure on myself to do stuff. Some people are the opposite, like Solly loves putting pressure on himself, and he thrives in that. So everyone is different, and it's, I think, knowing what works best for you, isn't it? And
I think as well, though, like, training will work if, like, you believe in it more often or not. Like, for me, like, I don't question what Dave gives me. I just do it. I believe that it'll work. He tells me, like, after our training, like our in-person session, like, from what he's told me on the day and what we worked on that session and the stuff he's given me afterwards, I know it's gonna work. So because I believe in it, then it's more often going to work. Yeah,
trust and belief plays a big part in it, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just that you think, okay, I trust this person and I believe in what they've given me to do, and I just get on and do it. Yeah, I think, and that's actually interesting, because I noticed doing stuff for myself that sometimes I would find it hard to believe in what I was doing and think like I would do something for a month and I'd be like, is this working? Is this the right thing to do? But I think the only thing that kept me going with it then was thinking, okay, you can't just do something for a month and think that, I don't know, it's not going to work. So I had to, like, force myself most of the time to be like, right, I'm going to do this for, I don't know, 3 months or 6 months. I think, just to expect to see any sort of real change in in something or in what you're doing from something, I think like 6 months is a good amount of time. Even if it's just one little aspect of your climbing.
Yeah.
Like I think what I used to find good was having maybe 1 6 month period where I'd focus on one subtle little thing. It might have been like, I don't know, tension on flat feet or sloping feet. And then I would just kind of prioritize, working on boulders that had flat and sloping feet, or I'd set them, or, whatever it was. And I think then if you keep a theme for a long enough period, it's long enough to see the change. And it's only like one thing, so you're not trying to add 10 things and pile everything on, and then you end up kind of forgetting about half of it and not doing half of it.
I mean, the way like Dave explained it to me was like consistency is the most important thing.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do something, you have to be consistent with doing it, and doing it the same, like more or less the same time every single week. Being consistent with what you're doing, and that's what builds strength, and that's what builds the new technical ability in those things as well.
And I think you see in everything, don't you? Like, consistency doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean I've got to do the same thing at the same time every single week and I can't miss a week. And doing that for like a certain period of time. It means doing it for a year. You might miss 4 or 5 sessions in that year, but you've done it for a year. That's like long enough. For those 4 sessions in a year aren't going to make a difference. But, it's that consistency over a longer period of time, isn't it?
I mean, for me, like, I just come from like 3 weeks of sickness, like constant up and down sickness, where I was missing sessions, not really doing half of my training because I was ill. But because I was consistent beforehand and I'm consistent again afterwards, I still haven't really missed a lot, and I still feel really fit, and I still feel
and there's not much you can do about that anyways. There.
Oh,
really.
yeah, of course.
I think it's
I'm
really
just mean
easy.
like with the consistency stuff, like, because I was consistent before and after.
Yeah.
I was able to maintain.
You were able to miss. Yeah, I think that's the thing.
And missing those sessions didn't actually matter that much,
Yeah, I think that's actually a big thing. Like, you see some people where maybe you miss sessions when you're feeling good, or when when you can really get those sessions in, and then suddenly when you can't get the sessions in because of like really busy work periods or sickness or whatever it is, then you're like, oh, well, I've missed even more now. And then suddenly you might have gone like a month with no training. So if you really try and get the stuff in when you can, then when you can't, you're like, okay, it's not the end of the world. I can't afford now to not do it.
To be honest as well, like, if there's days where you feel like you can't do it, just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you physically feel like, oh, I'm a bit tired today, that's all good being consistent, but you also need to be, give your body some time to rest as well, And this is something I need to learn as well.
Well, you just need to listen to, like, follow a plan and not do more.
Yeah.
But I think that's common, isn't it? When you get psyched and you're feeling really good to want to do more, and that's the entire reason that I was had that finger thing all of this year, was just because I was probably in some of the best shape I've been in, and then it was just like, well, I just want to keep this going, and then you keep push. Like,
if I stop, the train is gonna stop, and I don't want the train to stop.
When actually you just need to get off. Just get off, even if you just have to get off and wait for like a couple of weeks, or just change tact a little bit. And that's the mistake that I made, was not just changing tact a little bit and doing something different. I should have just, at that point, after sort of doing the second sort of project in that witch's cave, I should have just at that point gone, right, I don't need to do this Dinas thing now. I don't need to do this other cave thing now. I can just build a little bit of a base, do a bit of training, and then, start to feel better again for Rocklands, instead of like, I'm going to try and push hard all the way there and then, end up mullered for 6 months.
But for me, though, like, I don't think you get to the level of climber you are without that, You need to have that, like...
There's an element of, like, high risk, high reward, isn't there? But
we're always towing that line of flying too close to the sun. And sometimes you do go too
burnt.
close to the sun, and sometimes, you stay right on the edge of it,
Yeah.
And it's only until you, like, you push it a little bit too far that you realise, oh, I've actually messed this up a little bit.
Maybe that's the cost of business.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just stupidity. I don't know.
Well,
I think it's a mix. But I agree with you. Probably sometimes, like you say, sometimes it works out.
Yeah.
And, maybe circumstances then, like, help you in that if the project that I'd been trying to do after doing the other the thing of witches was, like, something that wasn't crimpy and was really long and was really physical, then I might have been alright, because I wouldn't have kept pissing my finger off.
Yeah.
But because the thing that I went straight into was another really aggressive right hand crimp, after feeling already on my right hand wasn't that good, it just compounded it and made it 10 times worse. So sometimes luck gives you the project that you know, or not luck, but sometimes that project kind of reveals itself to you and you can do it. Whereas, you know, around here, you end up just doing stuff that, you know, that you've got. But then it becomes choice, isn't it? I could have, if I'd wanted to, I could have said, okay, I'm noticing that this finger doesn't feel great. Instead of doing something that's aggressive on the crimp or like overly fingery, I'm going to go and try Tempest, or I'm going to go and, you know, I'm going to go and try something that's different. Yeah, or just train and like build some capacity and let my fingers like recover a bit.
Well, that's what I was just about to ask you. Like, would you in the future now like opt for a more like half and half, where you do a little bit of training and outdoor rock? And
that's what I've kind of done in the past. And
because this time you just went for a more outdoor approach.
Yeah,
because your psych was high. You were doing ticking off boulders, so you were just going one after the other, weren't you?
I guess I was trying to see a little bit, you know, what I could do if I just mostly focused on rock. I was still doing bits and pieces in the background, but very little, and probably not enough fingerboarding. I probably should have done some more fingerboarding.
It's more just like doing those like the like maybe not like pure strength fingerboarding, but
no,
those
the maintenance
exercises
stuff
that maintain your fingers, keep your pulleys and your tendons healthy.
I think the other thing that I didn't have really was an actual plan.
Yeah.
So from, you know, coming back from when we came back from Swiss at the very start of this year, I didn't really, other than the boulders that I knew I wanted to try, and Rocklands that I knew we were going to, I didn't have an actual plan of this is what I want my year to look like in terms of climbing and training.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mistake for me. Whereas right now I've got an idea of, okay, you know, these 2 months I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
This month I'm going to try and do this. And you know, actually kind of plan the next year forward to kind of think about, you know, volume and intensity, training, rock climbing, and how to, like, you know, any periods where I'm going to be busier in work, so I'm going to have less time to do training or less time to climb on rock, or the weather or conditions, or where I'm psyched to go climbing. I think having a plan for the year like that ahead of you gives you a bit of an idea of how to structure your time, how to keep yourself healthy, how to keep yourself psyched.
And also as well, because we both got some big trips coming up as well. Obviously we got a big trip next year, and then I've got Switzerland in December. You're going to America. Like, we've got that future goal now. We've got that in our sights, and we want to...
You just plot those in as little points on the year, and then you say, okay, what do I need to do roughly to feel good for this trip?
Yeah.
Okay, when I come back off that trip, what would make sense? What should I do to train, or what should I do to maintain, or, you know, what am I going to need to do? How might I feel? Like, how might I feel after 3 weeks in Waco?
Yeah.
I might feel like my fingers hopefully are feeling pretty good because I've done probably a load of crimping, but I'd imagine my body would be a bit weaker. My technique might be a bit worse. I'll probably be a bit detrained from 3 weeks just of rock climbing. So maybe then building a bit of a base would be useful, or, you know, starting to build capacity again. Instead of just like, I'm going to use all of this, you know, finger strength that I gained, or all of this good feeling from 3 weeks, and then try and throw it straight into something else, and then get carried away onto the next one, and just, you know, letting yourself get carried away. I think if you have a bit of a plan, you know, you can, the thing is, with a plan, you can be sort of flexible with it. You can say, oh, well, actually, you know, I might go on this little trip or that little trip. But I think in general, if you have some structure there, I think you've got more chance of, for me at least now, is just keeping healthy. Yeah. You know, it's just not getting injured.
Your finger was pretty bad, wasn't it? So
it was bad enough that, you know, it got to the point where it wasn't getting any better, and I was climbing, you know, so I couldn't, there was very little I could climb on. You know, I couldn't half crimp. Like, I couldn't hang a 20 mil edge on a fingerboard, body weight, and not feel any pain.
That's not good.
No. And that was, you know, consistently from April till the start of September. So, like, long enough that I needed to actually stop climbing for, you know, a long enough period. to just build it up from fingerboarding.
And it was probably that, your Rocklands trip that probably made it maybe a little
It just
worse
it just
as
put
well.
it back to like where it was. That's the frustrating thing. And I think what's been the hardest about this finger over any other like tweak or injury that I've had before is that it just felt like it would so easily set back.
Yeah.
I've had stuff before where you was fairly linear. You could just keep kind of adding a little bit, and it would get better and better. Whereas this was like, gets better. Suddenly you're back to where you were at the very start. And yeah, that's pretty frustrating.
Yeah. How did your Rocklands trip go? Because we didn't really touch on that. I know what you're gonna say, and he's gonna say it didn't go well, but it did go well.
I mean, it was an enjoyable trip. I think we did pretty well with the weather.
The weather was like we had 2 or 3 days.
There was a few days of
climb, and then we could climb the entire time, and the conditions were perfect. Every day.
It was pretty good. It wasn't too hot. It was actually, there was only one day that trip I think where I was like, oh, it's quite warm today.
Yeah.
Every other day was pretty cool. No, I think it went pretty well.
What were your pre-trip goals, and then what?
I did want to make progress on monkey wedding and do the bits, the 2 end moves that I hadn't done, and I did those 2 moves. One I didn't do in the first session. I did one in the first session, and then one in the second session, and then the one that I did in the second session, I linked from those 2 moves that I hadn't done to the end, which was a good link. I think I underestimated then how hard it was going to be to climb into those moves from the start. Yeah. Even though you only had like 6 moves, and they probably only, I don't know, like 70 plus maybe. It feels like you're maybe doing 70 plus
because it's more technical than it is like.
Yeah, it's a bit finicky.
Yeah, finicky.
But once you have it wired, it's really not that bad. But I think, the mistake that I made was thinking that was, that it was going to be okay to climb into that left hand undercut pinch thing.
But that's like the thing that most people struggle with from the start.
The problem is getting that hold well. It's almost like that is a move in and of itself, is how you get that hold. If you don't get that hold well, it's really hard to carry on for the rest of it.
And there was like one go where like you went from the start,
you
got it well,
and I almost stuck the bump thing.
Stuck the bump
So, that was pretty interesting because that was, I think, the first go that I had from, like, one of the first goes that I had getting through the start. And that actually was maybe a bit of, lulled me in a little bit to thinking, I could do this. Because I think I still had, like, maybe 3 sessions that I could have had, 3 or 4 sessions that I could have had after that. But each of those sessions were kind of the same thing, with just getting that left hand wrong. Skin played a factor as well. Maybe I would have been better having 2 or 3 sessions instead of 4 sessions, and just letting my skin recover between sessions on it and trying other stuff. But then, in a shorter trip and you're kind of enjoying the climbing that you're doing, you just kind of do that
as well. So for you, you're like,
maybe one mistake I made on that trip actually was not making a bigger list of boulders in that moderate range.
Because those couple of days where you did do like, you found this boulder, you found that boulder, and then you did then be like, oh, actually this is kind of fun.
Yeah. There was like, I should have done that at the start of the trip a bit more. But yeah, it's easy to look back. I think you think, okay, I enjoyed the climbing that I was doing on the boulder that I was on. I made progress on it. Yeah. There was more boulders that I got to sample then as well, which I enjoyed. So it lines stuff up for next year.
And for me as well, like what was most interesting was that first session, like because you said the first day I want to go to Monkey Red, I want to try it, and it was like the mindset of like we got there, we just did 2 days of traveling, which is horrendous, and then you jumped on it, and then you were, for me, I said to you, you were fairly close to doing the moves, considering the what we just did. We just did 2 days traveling.
Yep.
And your mindset, you're like, nah, I'm not close.
Yeah, I didn't actually feel that close. I mean, I did the cross move, but I didn't actually feel that close to the bump. Even though it did look close, like I was close to hitting the hold. I don't know, it didn't feel right. But that was, I think, because I was using just like a different combination of where to hold the left hand and a different combination of where to put my right heel. And then maybe, I think when I'd watched then a few more videos and seen, so and so does this and that, and this like heals slightly lower or heals slightly higher. I think on the next session then, when I tried a few more different combinations and I found, okay, I can hold it like this and I can place my heel there.
Yeah.
Suddenly it was like,
I can do this now.
it makes sense
and
now.
you did it, and then all of a sudden, then I saw that switch from your brain and your face of like, I couldn't do this. You couldn't do it to like, oh my god, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and that still is like an exciting thing for me. Even thinking about it now, like knowing, okay, I can go back, and I can is possible for me to do that boulder. There's no reason I can't do that boulder. Yeah, okay. I've spoken with a few people about this recently, about, having those trips where you go and you try something and you don't do it, and you're like, oh my god, I might not be able to come back here for like a year or 2 years or ever. Because for a lot of people, like, you may go on a trip and not be able to ever go back there again.
Because of money or
of
time constraints or because of work. Or
for some people, like a Rocklands trip is a once in a lifetime.
But I like what Dave said on like the last podcast you did with him. It's like, it's just what do you want out of that trip? Like for you wanted to do those moves.
Yeah.
Like you didn't care. Like at that time before we left, you didn't care about anything else, because I know, because that's the conversations we had all the time. You didn't care about anything else other than doing those two moves and linking them together to the end. So you could say that you achieved what you wanted to achieve.
It was turning that boulder from something that I didn't know if I could do into something that I know I can do.
Yeah, and it's a dream boulder for you, right?
For me, I'd love to do it. Yeah. I think, like Dave said, it is deciding what you want out of a trip. And there's so many trips that I've been on and that you've probably been on where you just, you've got, I don't know, you've never been to an area before, you've got like a million boulders you actually want to do.
Big list,
or sometimes you've been to an area before, you've tried a bunch of boulders before, you're like, okay, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and then you just kind of dial into those a little bit. So then it'd be interesting to know, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, but what do you want out of the trip that you're going to Switzerland for 10 days in December? How are you going to play that? Because I said to you, like 12 days or whatever, 10 days of climbing.
Yeah, 10 days of climbing, then days.
It's actually not that long
lot,
to do a boulder which is on paper still at your limit. It's your highest grade. How are you going to play that?
Well, for me, I think on to be honest, I don't think I've been really. I mean, I've been doing some boulders like at my local crag to like prepare me for this boulder as well. So I've been doing like longer end boulders just to like make sure that my fitness is up there with my training, which it is at the minute. Because I've actually done quite a lot of like longer links the last couple of weeks. Because this boulder is predominantly like a power endurance test piece. It's a lot of moves over time. And then the hardest part is trying not to numb out by the time you get to the top. I think for me, I'll probably go and try her on day one, just to see if I can still do all the moves. And the boulder we're talking about is Ipatici, which I got fairly close to doing.
Yeah, you were pretty damn close.
Yeah.
So what is it, like, how many moves is it? It's probably like 15 moves altogether.
It's quite a lot.
Hardest moves all at the start, kind of gets easier the further,
and then the higher you get,
goes.
And then it's just like a bit of a wiggy top out then. But I don't think the top out's too bad once you've done it. It's just a bit, it feels a bit sketch when you're doing it. And I'll just try it on day one, because to be honest, like that's pretty much what this trip was booked for. It's because I want to go do this boulder. And I think I'll just go there, try it on day one, see if I can do all the moves on day one. I'm quite confident that I will do it within like a session or two. Like, I'm really confident. If I can still repeat all the moves on first day, I'm very confident with how my fitness is right now.
Okay, so let's say you could, on that first session, then you do all the moves. How would you play it after that?
Depending on how long the session is, like, and depending on whether I go somewhere else and try something else as well. Because I may, like, depending on, how I feel, I may even just go try something afterwards. Right. Then rest the day. Maybe go out climbing with my girlfriend and take her somewhere to go climbing. And then I'd go back for sunburns the next day. And then depending on how those sunburns go, I would then decide how I'm going to play out the rest of my trip.
Right.
Because I'll know by that time if I feel like 10 days is enough to do it or not.
It can be hard to know, can't
Yeah,
it?
it's
though?
hard to know
Because
you could feel close and
yeah, or you could feel not feel that close
yeah,
on a day with shit conditions, and then go back on a day with good conditions and be like, this, but I guess the good thing is, realistically, from the last trip when you tried it, I don't think there was a day on that trip. Well, there wasn't a day on that trip where you tried it in truly bad conditions.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Every single day
conditions.
was
Yeah.
cold, pretty damn low humidity, which, arguably is easier to control than high humidity.
And I'm going the same time as we went last
Yeah.
year, so, like,
but I think at least now you'll have a reference point when you try it of like, I've tried this in mint conditions. If you're trying it in, conditions where either it's warmer or it's higher humidity or there's snow or whatever it is, you'll have an idea then of like, how much the conditions are actually like playing into that. Because I think as far as boulders in kind of that area goes, it's one of the more condition dependent things. Given you've got slopey pinch, start hold, slopey pinch. Which were you using that pinch in the end?
Yeah,
you were using.
Yeah, I used all the pinches
pinch on the arete. They're all like.
But I use like the instead of like
you were using that
like thing he does. I
right.
Like
okay.
The 2-finger thing.
And I guess that'll play a big part in that boulder for you. Is just the conditions.
To be honest as well, like it'd be interested to see how much better I am on it, because the training that I'm doing with Dave now does lend me to actually perform better on this boulder.
Right. In what sense? More volume?
In terms of like the conditioning that I'm doing with my legs.
Right.
So I think that to me that the bottom is very tensiony and very like technical in that way, like in how you stand on the holds and how you squeeze with your feet.
The feet are pretty bad, aren't they? And you do have to use
they're pretty bad, and
you have to use your legs a bit.
Yeah. So it'd be interested to see how my legs feel on this boulder, because I didn't have any problem with holding any of the holds. It was more, I think I was struggling with like keeping tension a lot of the time. But
you were struggling to. It looked like a lot of the time you were just struggling to keep a connection between what was going on up here and what was going on down there.
Because I was like physically able to hold them, but then I feel with my legs I was like maybe struggling to keep my legs on.
Yeah. And as well, it's a margin thing, isn't it? Like if you're let's say like 8C strong, you could hold those positions without the feet in a lot of places and just kind of like muscle your way through it. Whereas when your margin is less, you need the tension, you need the feet to stay more.
So for me, I'm like, if I don't do it, but I see progress in my feet, then like to me that's still a win, like I've achieved something, like, and I think that's kind of what I do before going on trips. Like I'll have like obviously the goal of doing it, like that is like the big goal, but for me, like how can I walk away from this trip without being disappointed? Like I'll just have a little tick on my notes that says, have I improved on this boulder by my feet being better at the lower moves? Then if the answer is yes, then okay, well I've walked away from this trip better than I did going into it. And I think just having like a goal that's different to actually sending is important.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. I think it is really easy to just like have, I don't know, X link, Y link, and then do the boulder as goals, and not have some sort of, have I learned something from trying this boulder? I think it is really easy to, and I've had this for sure, of like feeling like not doing a boulder was just a total failure, even though actually, you may have benefited a lot in a skill set or just picked something new up.
Well, because I know that's how you felt with Rocklands. Like I know you felt like it was a total failure.
Yeah, I guess like
because I know from our conversations it felt that way anyway when we were talking.
Yeah, it was like, it was disappointing. I felt like I could have done Monkey Wedding and then didn't do it, and as a result, didn't have much to show for the trip. But then I've had that on trips before, and that's just something you get used to. You forget about it in a couple of weeks. Like you're pissed off for a couple of weeks, and then you're saying, okay, what can I do so that if I get another chance, that I'm not gonna make the same mistakes, or I'm gonna come away with a different outcome. And I think as long as you do that, as long as you can be pissed off for some days and say, oh, like, that's really annoying, I didn't do that, I'm pissed. But then say, okay, why didn't I? What was at play there? I think for me, obviously the finger played a part of it, and like towards the end, crimping this thing to go into the undercut was pissing this finger off, and then catching that hold,
really bad, didn't it?
and then catching that hold and drag was pissing it off as well. So not being injured would be one. Two, I think there was I could have made a slightly lower link. I could have made the link from going here into that hold.
Yeah.
In a trip with longer time, I would try other boulders as well. There's a bunch of different things I think that I could change, and that I will hopefully change if we get to go back next year. But yeah, it's easy to say them. It's being able to like go there and again, I think this is where having a plan is really useful.
Yeah.
If you can have a plan, it just doesn't leave so much stuff to chance. You say, okay, I know what I want to achieve from the trip. I'm going to make a plan to try and, get me to be able to achieve that. And then when I get there, I'm going to try and stick to that plan. Unless there's a really good reason not to, I'm going to try and stick to it. And
definitely stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Not like me.
But then it's, I don't know, that the feeling of that makes you think, oh, am I just turning this into some sort of really clinical, robotic thing that there's, because there's so many ways to do it, isn't there? And when I chatted to Dave, he was talking about Nicky and how he has a really relaxed approach and just goes and tries stuff, and it doesn't seem like it's really structured, and but
he's a different human being altogether, though, isn't he?
He's doing, he's doing, I guess maybe he's just following a more natural kind of thing of his motivations. He isn't, he obviously goes somewhere for like to do a boulder or to try a boulder, and then, so like climbing with him in Malta Tower when he was trying Bugaleisen, he obviously went there. I think he said that it was that, and it was emotional landscapes that he wanted to do. And the thing I think maybe that I noticed that he didn't rush that much. When Bugaleisen was not dry, he wasn't, like, I was trying the lower moves, and I was like, I've got 2 weeks here, I need to at least try these lower moves so that if the top dries, I got a chance to do it. Yeah. He just like didn't seem asked. He was like, well, I'll just wait till it's dry. Yeah. And I think there was one day that we tried there where it wasn't. It was pretty much dry, but it was like the conditions were still pretty bad. But you just didn't
high humidity.
Yeah, it was just really it was really moist still. But I think sometimes okay, you can have that really patient, really I'm not bothered attitude when you have the opportunity to go back places more regularly. Yeah. But I think sometimes you can achieve that mentality even if you don't have the chance to go back somewhere. And that's something I've tried to exercise a little bit more on trips, is like, it doesn't matter if I don't do it this trip, there might be another opportunities to succeed, even if, like we said, it's not for a year, or or it might not be ever. Yeah. I think for me at least, someone who doesn't enjoy pressure, if you convince yourself that you have to do this boulder now, or I may never get another chance, or it might not be for a year, then you're gonna screw yourself over either way. So you're almost better trying to, convince yourself there'll be another chance.
I'm the opposite. I'm Simmer Solly. I need pressure.
Yeah.
Like, pressure builds diamonds. I'm like I'm someone who needs it.
Also smashes stuff up as well. Sometimes.
It does. Yeah. But for me, I'm someone who I like being risky on trips. Like, okay, I've got 10 days to try and climb this A+, but for me, that excites me. If I walk away, I would rather walk away from that trip not done it than to go there and climb another bunch of 7Cs that I've done before. There
you go. Yeah, that's it's making that decision, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you've said, okay, I'm gonna go back to this boulder that I've tried before, I want to have an experience where I can see if I've learned something and if I can do it. If not, oh well, it's not the end of the world.
To me, the risk is worth the reward. If I walk away and I don't do it, then so be it. This trip was planned to do this boulder. Yeah. I am going to do this boulder. And if I don't do it, then I will walk away happy that I even tried.
Yeah. And I've done that on I don't know how many trips, and I've probably had, I reckon, like at least a handful of trips, if not more, to places where I've gone and not done anything like of kind of value to me, really. I'm just like, oh, I did a couple of these or a couple of those, but not, I went for a particular boulder and just didn't do it. And I don't know.
And don't get me wrong, like I don't take it the wrong way where I'm saying, just doing another 7C. Like, it's important building that pyramid of doing them.
Yeah.
But for me, on a trip, like when I've done already, like on our last trip, I've done more. That was fun. That was great. I could do one every day. That was great.
Well, you it's picking the approach for the trip that you're going on, isn't it?
Yeah.
The place you're going on. You go to Rocklands, you've never been there before.
Yeah.
There's a million 7C plus you can try. You're going to try them. Whereas, I don't know, I go back to Switzerland or something now and there's not that many really good quality 8A to 8B things that I could do. Same maybe like going to Rocklands, even though there is.
Yeah.
Now they've kind of looked a bit more because of how much development there's been.
Yeah.
You think, okay, well, there's less of those quality ones. Then it becomes about, okay, and this is a conversation I've had with people quite a bit, is do you just say, I'm going to do the lesser quality ones, or the ones that don't appeal to me as much, or the ones that are more anti-style for me, and use those on a trip to build up to doing the thing that you really want to do. But in 10 days of climbing, do you have time to do that? No, you don't.
Really, no.
So
for me, I'm just gonna go haywire on it, and
because I said to you when you said, oh, I'm going to go for 10 days, I was like, ooh, that's risky. 10 days trying to do that, that's not a lot of time. To like, I personally, unless it was some super softy and I was in like mega good shape, I would not be booking a 10-day trip to do something at my limit. Yeah. But maybe I just don't have the, I guess maybe you could argue you're closer to maybe climbing 8B.
I feel like I'm closer to climbing 8B than I am to.
So if 8A plus doesn't feel like the absolute, even though it is on paper your limit, if it doesn't feel like a 10-session job to do it, then you could say, okay, if I can do 8A plus in 4 or 5 sessions, then there's, in theory, everything going well, you could do it in.
I mean, half of my 8th grade boulders are 8A pluses anyway. So
right.
So I've done quite a bit of them.
I think the thing is on trips though, it's easy to forget though, is all of the other stuff that kind of comes in. Little bits of traveling. There's conditions. There's the fact that if you're going to have 5 sessions, you're going to have 5 sessions in the space of 10 days, not 5 sessions in the space of 5 weeks. Which you would do on a boulder at home. So it's trying to manage all of that stuff.
But for me though, like that excites me a little bit. I know for some people that pressure would be like nerve-wracking. And
well, I mean, that was what was cool, seeing Solly climb Foundation's Edge. I didn't actually see him climb it, but see him do a Foundation's Edge in Swiss, and he had 4 sessions on that. And the first session, I think he might have done all the moves, but maybe there was a bit he didn't do. I can't really remember, but he certainly wasn't making links. He did like all of the moves, and having that was a 10-day trip, and he did that in 4 sessions. And the last session, I think in his head, I think he was like, if I don't do this today, I'm staying here anyway. Yeah. So even though he didn't, I don't even think he could have afforded another flight home at that point. But
he can now.
Fair play to him. Yeah, that was really cool to see him like do that. And I think he knew that it was possible, but he also was pretty like fatigued. He was like, I remember he saying he was really sore and he was really stiff and his forearms were like blown up or whatever because he was like making bigger links by the end, and that boulder really is, I guess, like making links. Yeah. And getting towards the end, which you're just gonna like power out. But yeah, it's cool to see that you can do. I mean, okay, that wasn't his max grade; is like 1 below. Yeah. But to do it that quickly in that length of a trip, essentially almost being like day on day off. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
He's pretty good, Solly. He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty useful. Yeah. So after your Swiss trip, then have you made a plan for next year?
Yeah, I mean, like I've got a life plan now, and I've got
You've got a life plan.
I've got a life
He's got
plan.
a life
plan.
Have you got a pension?
Nah, no pension.
Okay.
We're all doomed. With
So what's the plan next year then?
Just obviously get back, like see how Switzerland goes. Like, I mean, the best outcome for Switzerland would be just to do it on day one, and then
Nice, isn't it?
and then I can just go try sample a couple of APs that I would want to try and go back for and get psyched on. Get back to training in January, February, and then spring hopefully. Well, at the minute I'm hoping that the conditions get better for hydro, because that's the goal now, is to get back on that ASAP. Right. Now that I've done
now or like after, are you gonna start trying?
I'm gonna try it before, because now that I've got my power endurance up, that is a very for what I would say would be perfect for Ipatici, because it's very like finger intensive.
Yeah, and you have to keep a bit of weight in your feet as well.
So like it'd be nice to just get back on that, get psyched on that again. Because I did try it a couple of weeks ago, but that was during my like couple of weeks of sickness. So I could barely do any of the moves again. But I'll take that as me being sick, not because maybe I couldn't do the moves.
Mm. That's interesting. It'd be interesting to see if you went back to it in a couple of weeks now and you're feeling really good and you still couldn't do some of the moves.
Yeah.
What? Because it could almost feel like an excuse to be like, oh, well, I'm sick, so I couldn't do the moves. What's it gonna like? How will you?
But I'm almost certain that like I knew I was coming down with something and I ended up being really, really ill. So I think I had a pretty bad case of COVID. So I was pretty worked. But just that's the goal, is obviously to climb AB. Like I'm still searching for that. So it's all or nothing now. I'm just gonna go for it, and that's the goal before going to Rocklands again. I was maybe going to think about going to Magic Wood before we go. But that all just depends on money and stuff, so I'm not sure.
So mostly just climbing in the UK then until...
Climbing in the UK, yeah. Go to North Wales a lot, try and get some of the stuff I want to do over there. Find more local stuff that I want to get psyched on. Because at the minute I've kind of just like eaten up a lot of the stuff that I can do.
It's funny you keep saying this, but there's so many things left for you to do.
I mean, like, but the stuff...
I know they're not very good,
no,
but...
You missed what I said, so the things that I can do easily.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah, there's maybe not that many things you could do easily, but there's plenty of stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there's not plenty of stuff.
Around, like,
I'm just saying
7C to 8A that you could do.
Yeah.
That'd probably be useful. Not very good always, but
yeah,
there's plenty of stuff that you could do.
But that's why I go to North Wales and I can just try and do,
Yeah.
because there's a bunch of 8As there that I'm really psyched on. But for me, the goal is just like getting prepared for Rocklands again next year. I would like, I've already told you about a bunch of APs I want to do out there. Like that's, I want to go there on this trip. And I think I made a deal with you, didn't I? I was like,
so we'd be trying the same boulders.
We'll be trying the same boulders on this trip. That is, see, that's how risky I am. I like to take a bit of risk, and we'll be
trying the same 7A warm-ups.
And I made a bet with Eliot that I'll be climbing the same boulders as him by next year.
We will. The same 7A warm-ups. Nah. Yeah. I mean,
wait, at this rate with your finger.
There was some boulders that we tried. There was probably a couple of boulders we tried together this year that I hadn't done either. I think we did some 7Cs.
Yeah.
That neither of us had done. So that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that I miss actually quite a bit of the time is a balance of like having somebody to try the same sort of level of boulder. That is like I had a nice period of climbing with Ash. I've done it quite a bit with Solly as well. Of you go out together and you're just trying the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time the thing that does that I noticed is that where you would sometimes stop trying, that other person doesn't stop.
Yeah, doesn't stop, and then you're like,
and then you're
maybe I'll keep going.
Maybe I'll try again, or maybe and then suddenly things.
And maybe that's like a little bit competitive enough. So maybe that's
I don't even know. I think most of the time it's just logistics. It's just like, well, I'm stuck here. They're still trying this boulder, so what am I gonna do? Am I gonna sit here, or am I gonna climb as well? And I just climb as well. And then I think sometimes you just maybe you look a little bit more. I think you're just a little bit less willing to write stuff off quickly.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've definitely struggled with more recently is
Yeah.
just writing stuff off too quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it also doesn't help that, like, when we go climbing together, we are climbing more or less most of the time, like, different.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
we
I
go
mean.
into different areas, we go into different blocks, we
Yeah.
go in, and even I see it sometimes. And to me, like, you know, I in my head, like, that is the goal that I want, to go to those boulders with you and try them with you. You know, like, that is like something that I look forward to. Whereas for you, that's a little bit different because you don't have that person to look forward to, you know. Okay, it's cool having me there, my psych, you know, I'm cool to climb with wherever. Like, I'm very analytical. I'll tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. That's cool and all.
You complain a lot, like.
I do I do complain a lot. That's very true. It's part of my nature. I blame my dad, but you don't have that person to look to be like I'm not that person to look to and be like, I want to achieve what he's achieving because I'm below you. You know, that's not the way you're going to look at it. You know.
Yeah, I definitely think if you've got that person who's either of a similar level to you, where you're just going and trying the same things, or somebody who's like streets above you, that you can kind of almost not try and chase, but try and be like, okay, you know, I can kind of see what you're doing, and hopefully I can try and get to a point where I can try the same things.
Like for me, you're like the light at the end of my tunnel. Like I'm going down a dark tunnel, and you at the end of it are the light, and you're like this really strong climber, really good climber, and I'm trying to achieve that. You know the Messiah.
That's interesting.
But like for me, I'm trying to get there. You know, whereas for you, you're already there, and you have no one to go through that tunnel to look for. You know.
I guess I'm just looking more, virtually. Like, like I've climbed, I've seen, 9A climbers climb, and I've climbed with people who climb that level. So I kind of understand what they're doing and see what the level is and what is attainable. But yeah, I guess I'm not seeing it day in, day out.
And to me, I think
that would probably be useful. But then it's a balance, because I think some people, when they climb with people who are so far ahead of them or quite a bit ahead of them, they get kind of almost dejected by it. And
I'm the opposite.
Yeah, but then that's really good. I think
I'm someone who's like, I see someone who's way better than me, and I'm just like, I'll just sit there watching you climb and like looking at the way you're looking at the boulder, the way you're thinking about it, or even just anyone who's climbing. Like, when Nico was on thing as well, or any of them on that boulder, I was like watching, like, to me the most impressive thing was Nico when he looked nowhere near.
Oh, Nikolai.
Nikolai, sorry, not Nico, Nikolai. To him, he probably was like. To me, when I was watching him, he looked nowhere near any of the moves of.
That was really interesting. Like,
and he would walk away.
Actually, yeah.
Come back. Try a move or two. Look nowhere near again. Walk away. Come back. Try a move or two again. Maybe look a bit closer, but nowhere near. And then just go from the start, and he just does it. Yeah,
that really. I think that highlighted a bit to me a patient approach to trying to climb a boulder in a day. It wasn't like, I'm going to sit under this boulder until I've made all of these links. It literally was what you described. It was, at the start, I think he tried it for like half an hour, a week before or something. Because you were trying Pendragon, and I was sat on that boulder, like looking, I could see him trying it. But I think I don't think he tried it for very long. And then that day, he would try for like 5 minutes, do a couple of the moves, and then wander off.
Come back.
Half an hour, come back, do a little bit more. Yeah. I think it's not that common. I don't know, I've not seen that much before, where somebody just wanders off for like half an hour and comes back, and then you just sort of constantly almost like in and out of the process of it.
It's just, to me, the most impressive thing. I like, and obviously he's a V70 climber. Like,
okay. When you can climb 9A, climbing 8C is easier.
It's easier, But like for me, it was just that ability to just like take his time, walk away, and then just go from the bottom, and then just do it. And I was like,
I think you've got to have enough in the tank, haven't you, that you can. But then you're pacing yourself so that those sort of earlier bits of work in the boulder and doing the moves and making the links is over the course of like 2 hours, 3 hours, not 1 hour. Because a lot of the time you do that over the course of, you make all those moves and those links over the period of an hour, then suddenly you're like, oh, it's on, and you maybe rest 15 minutes. He's just elongated that entire process of a session. That it's not a session, it's a day.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I can't remember when some of the earlier goes were versus some of, you know, I mean, I think he did it probably like 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe not 5 because we had to be out by.
Yeah, it was closer to the time.
It was late. It was towards the end. So you know, you might have worked that boulder that day over the course of 5 or 6 hours.
And also, that doesn't work for everyone. Like for me, if I rest 15 minutes, I'm done for the day. You know?
Right, that's interesting.
If I rest longer, I don't know what it is about maybe my genetics or my body, or maybe I don't know. I'm not sure.
Your patience.
My patience.
Or lack of.
If for some reason, if I rest for longer periods of time, definitely more than 30 minutes, like my session's over with. Like I can't warm back up.
Right.
I can't like move my body again. It's almost like
you have to re-warm up again.
Yeah,
that's probably a factor, isn't it? I think it's interesting though, because you know, I guess not everyone, from like a practical perspective, not everyone has a whole day to go climbing. But I think there sometimes is this, and I've been guilty of this as well. Is like in reality, you may have the whole day to go climbing, but for some reason you want to try and cram your session into like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then actually when you're doing that, all you're doing is condensing the whole thing and giving yourself less time and less space. Whereas I think if you have a whole day to go climbing, use the whole day to go climbing.
Yeah.
You know, warm up really well, take breaks between attempts on stuff, maybe walk away for 30 minutes and just think about the boulder or visualize the moves in your head. Because again, it's time spent, you know, thinking about that boulder and visualizing the sequence that when you're not on it, that is still beneficial to when you're on it. Because what you were noticing, and what I noticed about Nikolai when he was trying that, was that when he was then going from the ground, he wasn't making mistakes.
Yeah.
Not one mistake that I see.
Yeah.
I think,
you know, he
each
would maybe
go
miss the bump hole.
Yeah, he'd miss the hole or whatever.
But do when they
you're just falling off.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, oh, I went the wrong hand sequence there, or I moved the foot in the wrong position or in the wrong order, or I placed in the wrong place.
How to climb it without much like.
And I wonder how much of that is experience. I wonder how much of that is maybe in those periods where he wandered off for 30 minutes. He was thinking in his head about it. Like, moves, I don't know, maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But, you know, I think at least if you're going to take that 30 minutes or 45 minutes or whatever it is, you've got that space then in your head to be like, okay, I can go away and think about it. Yeah. I think we're way too quick a lot of the time to try and condense our climbing into like 2 or 3 hours. You know, get in, have the session and go. Yeah. When if you have the time, I think it's probably better to use it. That's something I'm guilty of, to be honest, as well. Because everyone's got, you know, even if you've got a whole day, you've still got other stuff going on in your life. Yeah. You're like, oh, I can go and have my session, and then I can go and do this, or I can go and do that. Or I've got this bit of work. I need to do this. I need to do that. You know,
just get psyched as well on like, I mean, for me at least, I get really psyched to just I want to do this.
To just go.
I just want to keep climbing.
Yeah,
and
that's a big part of the problem, isn't it? Because you just. But then sometimes it's good because you keep the energy and you keep it rolling. But I do think from a physical perspective of having longer rests, maybe for you that doesn't work. I think for me it does. I know for a lot of people it does. Yeah. But then also having the mental space to think about the boulder more.
But then again, in Rocklands, like more often than not, I would do a boulder, rest longer periods of time. We'd go somewhere else,
and then you still be able to exactly. So
like
it does work.
It does work sometimes.
And sometimes it's like you know, it's like food, isn't it? Like convincing yourself, I can't eat this and then climb, or I can't eat that and then climb.
I'm definitely
like yesterday. You had white bread and a bacon and sausage sandwich, and still managed to climb an 8A. So it does. It's not like, oh, I can't eat bread.
I don't know. You're gonna
climb. Yeah.
I'll talk about all the boulders I've helped you up now.
You can do it. Yeah, you can carry on. Yeah. There's a good few. Yeah, I think that's really interesting to see that space and that like pace that he took.
Yeah. And for me, like my biggest advice for anyone who's maybe like in that medium grade range of like V4 to V7 or V8, just climb with people hard, like stronger than you. Like, as you know, as frustrating as it can be sometimes to like, they just do everything. Like, you will learn so much more from climbing with those people than climbing with the people at the same level. Because the people who climb at the same level, what you find is that you all stay around the same level because you if you actually care about progressing, then you'd want to climb with people who are stronger, because that's what enables you to climb that harder. Staying with the people at the same level, you just stay around that same level, and no one really wants to progress any further. Or maybe they do, but no one is actually actively trying to do that. For me, I would say, climb with people stronger, watch what they're doing, pay attention to how they're doing things. Like, why are they doing that? Why are they putting their body in that position? Ask them questions. How many questions I asked you when I first started climbing with you? You know, too many. But still, it's like, you have the information and I want it, you know, because I want to get better.
It's transactional.
It's transactional, mate, you know. I help you with boulders, you give me information, you know.
Yeah, I think I do agree. I think it's a balance of seeing and being around people that climb harder than you and seeing what they're doing and trying to understand it and learn from it. I think you need to know. Some people it doesn't. They don't like it. Some people don't like it. Some people find like self-conscious around people that climb harder than them, or like it inhibits them, or they feel that like it makes them feel worse. You know, be like, oh, I'm, you know, so and so is like they're trying this 8A and I'm like bumbling on this or that or the other. I think it's, but then that again, that's a mentality thing, isn't it?
They want to get better then, you know? That's the way I like.
Yeah. Well, I think
maybe
it's just,
that's a harsh way for me to look at it, but that's the way my brain works. Like, do they really want to get better at climbing?
Yeah. Well, they obviously do, but I think it's they obviously have that feeling of either self-conscious or, feeling like what they're doing is pointless because somebody can warm up on it or whatever it is. I think it does come down to mindset. I think, doesn't it? It's like you need to be able to see somebody climbing harder than you and be around it. And if you're going to have to be around it, then say, okay, how can I most benefit from being around this person? Or if you truly know that it doesn't work for you and you don't like it, well then don't do it. But I think I would agree with you that I would encourage people to do it, providing you do it with the right mentality.
And just, go into it with open arms and be like, look, this is a learning experience for me. This isn't, this person can climb this grade. And I actually had this the other day in the gym, actually, where I was in the gym. I was falling on this V6 in boulders where I work. I was falling on this V6. And then, one of the guys gave me a bit of beer, and then I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then this guy comes on the corner who's like in the uni, and then he sees me just do it. And then he goes, oh, well, I was going to try that, but you just made that look easy. And I'm like,
you didn't see all the times where I fell off in the last, like,
45 minutes. 30 minutes of me falling on this boulder and not doing it. Yeah. I was like, and I said it to him nicely. I was like, don't have that mentality. Because, like, that mentality can be quite dangerous. Just like, I literally was falling on it for 30 minutes straight. Yeah. And then you come around the corner and all of a sudden I do it. Just because I make it look easy when I do it, that doesn't mean that it wasn't hard to begin with, you know? Yeah. And that's where I feel like how people act sometimes is like, I get that you see someone do it. That could have been my 10th session on that boulder.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know?
It could have been.
You're not with me 24/7 to know how long it's taken me. So how do you know that, like, it is as easy as it is when I do it? If you spend more than like a bunch, like if you spend 100 sessions or something, hopefully it should look pretty easy. It should look pretty easy.
Yeah. Like some of the best ascents that I've made are the ones that were boulders that took session after session after session after session. Some of the stuff that I've done in a session has looked the scrappiest.
Yeah,
because I'm just like fighting to get it done and manage to get it done quickly. But then, and again, that for me, thinking it goes back to like how Nikolai climbed that boulder. Okay, it's not his limit, but something that is, I think that's like a really distinctive quality of some of the best climbers in the world, when they can unlock the best method and climb in the most efficient way like that. Yeah. Like within half an hour of trying a boulder, they've sussed the moves, they've sussed the sequence, they've sussed the links, they've sussed those little sticking points that the rest of us might find, like a transition or whatever it is. They've worked them out, they've smoothed it out, and then they can just go from the start and make it look like they've tried that boulder 50 times, 100 times, 200 times. That's a big quality, I think, that we saw that day.
That was like one of the most impressive.
Yeah, it was cool.
Like,
it was cool
just to see that like ability.
Because I think the other thing that you saw with that boulder maybe not just on that day, but on other days, is how many people were trying it.
How many people were trying it? How many strong
you know,
people were trying it as
like
well,
people who have climbed 8C, people who have climbed 8C plus,
Yeah.
all trying it. Okay, I think Nikolai was maybe the only person we saw try it who's climbed 9A.
Yeah.
But you know, or probably almost every other person that's tried that boulder that I was trying that boulder with had climbed 8C.
Yeah, 8C,
a lot of them had climbed 8C
A lot of
plus.
them, yeah.
And then to see almost that gulf of like how quickly he worked it out and put it together, and then could climb well and efficiently through it. Yeah, was like, ooh, okay, there's
it was like totally different to everybody else trying it.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. I think that's pretty much the main things that we wanted to chat about.
An hour and 20.
Oh,
yeah, perfect.
Sounds good.
Nice one. That was an enjoyable chat.
Yeah, that was actually. I kind of enjoyed that.
We could do that again. Time goes quick, doesn't it?
It does go quick, mate.
When you chin wag. So.
And now we're gonna go have a fucking. Now we're gonna go have a 6 hour.
He's just
session.
making work for me editing, isn't he?
Sorry.
Nice one.
Now we're just gonna have a 6 hour session.
Thanks for listening to this episode. If you want to learn more, check out stonelineclimbing.com, where we've got a weekly blog, and check out our Instagram, where there's more stuff posted there as well.